Welcome. So today is the second part of standing balances. So if you weren't here last week, there'll be a little bit of catch up because the warm-up that we're doing today is a review of the balances we did last class. Now because we're going through them quite quickly, you won't be able to use a chair for balance, but you will be able to use your blocks. Now, if you're convinced that you need a chair for balance, then move your chair to the front of your mat, because chances are that's where it will be most accessible than at the back. So remember, with standing balances, the reason they're so beneficial is because they require a large amount of concentration. And sometimes you'll find in a balance you're holding your breath, and sometimes you're holding your breath because you're anticipating falling. And so you have to try and detach yourself from that possibility. Because yes, there is a possibility that you will fall, but for most of you, it's very unlikely that you're going to hurt yourself. But it's overcoming that expectation of falling that is sometimes challenging for us in balances. So let's get up to standing. So we will go through the first vinyasa quite slowly. Remember, the vinyasa is a sequence of postures. So you'll want to have your blocks close to the front of your mat. Not all the blocks. Does everyone have a set of blocks? Yeah? All right. Remember, if you're taking it gently, you keep your feet about hip-width apart. Otherwise, we stand with the feet together in Tadasana. Rolling the shoulders back a little bit, as if you could spin your armpits up towards the ceiling. And then open the palms. Inhale, raise the arms to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana, gazing down at your knees or to your belly button. Inhale, halfway lift. Place the hands firmly down as you step back to high plank. Knees to the ground or knees up as you lower down to elbow height or to your belly. Roll over the toes, picking up for your back bend, but only if it's comfortable for your lower back. If it's not comfortable for your lower back, then don't go up so high. So keep your hips and your belly on the floor. And then from here, you either stay on your knees or you tuck your toes under and press back into downward facing dog. Pushing the front of the mat away, trying to stretch your yoga mat, creating more distance between your wrist and your toes. Try and lift your toes, not your heels, your toes. To lift your toes, you have to be able to push the sole of your foot back onto the mat. But by lifting your toes, you're contracting the muscles at the front of the leg. And so by contracting the muscles at the front of the leg, you're stretching the muscles at the back of the leg. Now give your head a shake. Help the neck to relax and release a little bit. Right? So sometimes in our effort to push the hips back, we get strong in the arms, but we also create tension around the shoulders. Now from here, some of you will need to come down onto your knees. Some of you will be able to raise your right leg up and hug that knee to the chest as you bring that foot through to the hands. Your left heel comes down to the center of the mat. And then we come up for Warrior Two on the right side. Gazing out over your right fingertips. Holding steady there. Open the right palm. Raise the right arm. Wrap the left arm around and behind your lower back. And then exhale, bring the right forearm down to the thigh. Turn your chin to the left shoulder. Raise the left arm up overhead. By your cheekbone to your ear. So you're creating a long line. Yep, that's it. From your wrist to your heel. And we want to try and spin the hand so that the pinky is low. That's it. So the pinky is lower than the thumb. It's a minor thing. No other way. And then bring the arm close to your ear. That's it. But we get that stretch there under the arm when we spin the palm this way. Now we're going to add on a balance. Shift your weight to the right foot. Bring your left foot perpendicular to it as you start to stand up on your left leg. Yep, that's it. Start to pick up your right foot, placing your right foot on your inner calf. Keep your hands on your hips or by your sides. And then once you feel steady, start to raise the arms up into Vrikshasana, tree pose. Hands can be apart or together, whatever feels comfortable for you. Find something steady to focus on. The wobbly person in front of you is not a good thing to look at. It will take you off your balance. Now from here we go back to the pose that we were just in. So bringing the right foot down, take the left leg back, bring your right forearm to your knee, take the left arm up and overhead. And then strong in the right leg, raise the right arm, reverse warrior. Now if you're taking it gently today, you step to the front of the mat into a forward bend. That includes you tomorrow. The rest of you can either press back into downward facing dog or take the full vinyasa. Exhale as you push down. Inhale as you lift. Exhale as you press back. I want you to stay at the front of the mat like she has. Yeah. Feet hip width apart tomorrow. Now, we need to get the left foot forward. Some of you will need to come down onto your knees. Some of you will be able to raise the left leg up and bring the left foot forward between the hands. Spinning the right heel down to the center of the mat. Coming up for warrior two, stretching the arms out to horizontal. It's harder when you can't see me. You need to trust yourself. Now open the left palm, raise the left arm, reaching the right arm back into reverse warrior. Wrap the right arm around and behind your lower back. Exhale as you bring the left forearm down to the left thigh. Turn to look over your right shoulder and raise the right arm up and overhead, creating a long line from your right wrist to your right ankle. That's it, Sadhana. Spin the palm this way. So you feel the stretch here as we spin the palm that way. Try not to be heavy on the left arm. Try to be strong on the right side of the body and strong in the left leg so that you're not just resting your elbow on your knee. Now we shift into the balance. Transfer your weight to your left foot. Bring the right foot to it, perpendicular. Standing on the right leg facing that wall. Start to find your balance as you bring the left foot onto the right calf. Hands are by your sides or on your hips until you feel steady. And then if you feel ready, raise the arms up overhead. Either hands apart or hands together. Vrikshasana, tree pose. Try to find something steady to focus on, either the floor or the wall. Try not to hold your breath. And then when you're ready, exhale, start to release. We go back to Utthita Parshvottanasana, bringing the left foot down, step the right leg back, resting the left arm down as you turn and raise the right arm overhead. Spin the other way. There you go. And then strong in the left leg, raise the left arm, reverse warrior. Don't lose the lunge in the left knee. And then on the exhale, stepping to the front of the mat, we're going to skip that vinyasa for the sake of time, just coming forward into the forward bend. Soft behind the knees, pull from the hips as you raise yourself up, arms overhead, and exhale, arms down. All right, second vinyasa. Open the arms, inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, forward bend, gazing at your knees or your belly button. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale as you hop, step, or walk back to the back of your mat into downward facing dog. Tomorrow, go straight to downward facing dog. That's it. Yep, those of you who are doing the whole vinyasa, you can do the whole vinyasa. But I just wanted tomorrow to go to downward facing dog. Now we're going to do the exact same thing. We need to get the right foot forward between the hands. So whether you raise the right leg up or come down onto your knees first is up to you. Bringing the right foot forward between the hands, left heel down. Warrior two on the right. We're going to move a little faster through this sequence now. Open the right palm, raise the right arm, wrap the left arm behind your lower back. New instruction, straighten the right leg. The right leg is straight as you bring the right hand down to the top of your hip or to your shin. For some of you, you bring it to a block. Turning your chin to the left shoulder, we take the left arm up to vertical in Utthita Trikonasana, triangle pose. Spin the palm the other way. That's it. If you feel like your shoulder and hip are coming forward, you may have gone too far down the leg. You might need to come up. Now from here we go to Ardha Chandrasana. Ardha Chandrasana is where we transfer the weight to the right leg and bring the right hand forward, either to the floor or to a block, or to a chair in your case. Shifting the weight onto the right leg, you're going to balance on the right leg as you raise your left leg up. Tamara's doing it. Vanessa's doing it. If you feel steady, wrap the left arm around and behind your lower back and turn your chin towards the left shoulder. Or not. It's okay if it doesn't go there. Remember, I'm always adding on different options. The last option I'm adding on is to take the left arm up to vertical. Some of you will keep your left arm behind your back, but some of you will feel comfortable and confident raising that left arm up. When we come out of this posture, we try to go back to triangle pose. So bend the right knee, take the left leg back, bringing the right hand down, keep the left arm high to vertical in triangle pose. Yes, both legs are straight. Try to be light on the right leg by creating lift on the left side of the body. And then from here, bend the right knee, raise the right arm, reverse warrior. Now exhale, either step forward and swap feet. Number 2, press back to downward facing dog. Or number 3, take the full vinyasa. Lower down to Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale as you push up to upward dog. Exhale as you press back to downward facing dog. Now we need to bring the left leg forward. So either come down onto your knees or raise the left foot up. Bring the left foot forward. Turn the right heel down to the center of the mat. Coming up for warrior 2 on the left. Open the left palm. Raise the left arm. Reverse warrior. Wrapping the right arm around and behind your lower back. Start to straighten the right leg as you bring the left hand down to your hip or to your left shin. So we want to avoid pushing directly into the knee, so you either need to be above the knee or below the knee. Turning your chin upwards towards the right shoulder, we take the right arm up to vertical. If you feel like you need a block for your left hand, place your left hand on a block. Now we're adding on half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Some of you know now you need the chair or you don't need the chair, you need a block or you don't need a block. We've already done it, so now you know what to expect. Look at the floor in front of your left foot. We want to start to shift the weight forward onto that left leg and then bring the left hand down to whichever support you're using. Even the floor is considered support. So placing the left hand down, start to raise the right leg up. Energize that right leg, spreading the toes. And then turn the chin towards the right shoulder and take the right arm up. It is sometimes easier on the second side because you know what to anticipate. Now remember, from here we go back to the pose that we were just in. So turn to look at the floor, bend the left leg, take the right leg back, start to straighten your left leg as you take the right arm back up. Holding triangle pose for a moment. And then bend the left knee, raise the left arm, reverse warrior. And then exhale, stepping to the front of the mat into forward bend. Soft behind the knees, pull from the hips as you raise yourself up. And exhale, arms down. Now we're quickly running out of time, so we're going to take this next one a little bit out of context. Warrior 1 to warrior 3. Taking the right foot out, take the left leg back. Remember, this particular pose is on a diagonal. So if there was a diagonal line from the upper right corner of your mat to the back left corner of the mat, you would be standing on that diagonal. The right knee bends over the right ankle, lifting the chin and the chest. Spin the thumbs away from you. Inhale, raise the arms up. Either hands apart or hands together is up to you. If this is uncomfortable for your shoulders, then keep the hands on the hips and just squeeze the elbows back. Still a good pose. To move into Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3, this is where some of you will use the chair or the blocks. We start to shift the weight forward, dragging the left toe behind you as you reach the arms forward. So right now, maybe you're at about 35 degrees, maybe shift forward to 45 degrees. If you want to go horizontal, then you are at 90 degrees at the hip. Try to create more space between the wrists and the heel. Now, keep breathing. Try not to hold your breath. When you're ready to come down, raise the arms, bend the right leg, take the left leg back to Warrior 1, gazing up at your hands or keeping your chin forward. And then exhale. Let's just change sides. So bringing the left foot forward, take the right leg back. Remember, a wider stance than what we had in Warrior 1. We have a wider stance so we can bring the hips around. Lifting the chin and the chest, spinning the thumbs away from you, raise the arms overhead. Either hands apart or hands together. Settle the breath. Start to see yourself in the posture before you go there. Try to visualize it. Now, shifting your weight forward onto the left leg, dragging the right toe behind you, reaching the arms up. At about 35 degrees, maybe start to shift to 45 degrees. If you want to go further, you go further. But your pelvis, we try to keep the pelvis level. So your toes and your knee should be pointing down towards the floor. Try not to hold your breath. When you're ready, inhale, up, bend the left knee, take the right leg back. Warrior 1, and then exhale, release. Very good. So that is mostly what a class is like. At the end, we cut out the vinyasas because we're running out of time. But that's how balances start getting thrown into a practice. Generally, you go from a standing pose into a balance, and then you come out back into standing poses. So they all start to blend together. The standing pose I'm going to try to teach you today, most of you will want to have a chair close by, and you will want to have a belt. For this first balance, I think it would be helpful if everyone has a chair to the front. For Pavrita Ardha Chandrasana. So we've already done Ardha Chandrasana. Ardha Chandrasana is half moon. And it's easy to remember because we have our moon here. Half moon, you're taking 1/2 up. So this is half moon, right? We've done that. Pavarita Ardha Chandrasana, rotated half moon, is opposite hand and foot. We turn that way. So we're going to place our forearms on the chair just to give it a go, see what it feels like. Some of you will keep the chair, or some of you will progress to no chair, either using the blocks or using the floor. So with your chair about a leg's length in front of you, we're going to stand on the right leg, start to shift your weight forward. We want to be able to bring the forearm down to the chair as we raise the left leg up behind us. Wrapping the right arm behind your lower back, turn to look over your right shoulder and take the right arm up. How are we going? Dhyana, turn the other way. It's opposite arm to leg. So left arm on the floor, hand goes this way, hand is facing that way. It's like you're waving at me. Sadhana, spin your hand the other way. That's it. And come down. So some of you discovered the seat of the chair was too low and you came up onto a straight arm. That's fine. Okay, and that's part of you discovering where are your limitations. Because for me to try to teach a perfect class for all of you is almost impossible. You're just doing what I tell you to do, whether you should be doing it or not. So part of what I want you to learn in this class is discovering what you can and can't do, what is within your ability and what is out of your ability, and what's safe for you to do and what's not safe for you to do. And sadly, sometimes you don't know what's unsafe until you've gone too far. And it's like, oh, shouldn't have done that. But that's part of the process of learning yoga poses and the movements. So now let's shift legs. So standing on the left leg, you'll start to shift your weight forward, whether you place your right hand on the seat of the chair or your right forearm on the seat of the chair. We raise the right leg up behind you, wrap the left arm behind your lower back as you turn to look over the left shoulder. If it is comfortable for you, then we take the left arm up. There you go. I can't hear you breathing. If I hear you laughing, that's okay. Then I know you're breathing. But for some of you, I can tell you're holding your breath. And then exhale, coming down. So we're going to do that posture one more time. Some of you will be able to push the chair away. How do you know if you can push the chair away? If you easily got down to your forearm. If you could easily get down to your forearm, then you are may I borrow just one of your blocks, please? If you can easily get down to your forearm, so the forearm was about here. The block is only there. So if you were on your forearm, you can probably go to a block. Some of you will be able to go to the floor, but you'll just have to test that when you get there, or you might even like to use the block this way. Some people like the block this way because they feel they can grip it better, has a bigger base on it. So you can play with that as you wish. Do you mind shifting the chair behind? Thanks. So when you're ready, we're going to start in the right leg first. Now this posture comes from Pavarita Trikonasana, not always, but sometimes comes from Pavarita Trikonasana, which we've done before. That's rotated triangle. It looks like this. And then we shift the weight forward and we move into that. So that's how these two poses get combined. For some of you, even Pavarita Trikonasana is a challenge. So some of you will only go into half of that posture. So we'll all start with this stance where the right leg is in front, the left leg is in back, and the feet are mostly parallel to each other. So we try to turn the left foot in so you feel the calf stretch in the left leg. Start the twist down low. So the twist starts down here at the hips, and then the ribs, and then the shoulders, wrapping the right arm behind as if you could take your left elbow to your right knee. Those of you who can't get there, keep the left hand under the left shoulder, either on the floor or on a block. Turning your chin to the right shoulder, we take the right arm up. Now from here, we're going to bend the right knee. You might need to bring that right arm back behind your lower back. Bend the right knee, start to bring your left hand forward, either to the chair, to the block, or to the floor. We start to raise the left leg up behind us as we turn the head and chest to the right shoulder and take the right arm up, if you can. Otherwise, keep the right arm wrapped behind your lower back. You're doing fine, Sadhana. Holding steady for another breath. When you're ready, bend the right knee, step back, and just spin your way out. Sometimes we do try to go back to Parivrtta Trikonasana, but that's all right. We'll skip that part. Now placing the left foot in front. Calf stretch in the back right leg. Start to twist here at the hips, bringing this right hip forward, left hip back. Start to bring the right ribs forward, left ribs back. Raise the right arm as if you're going to wrapping the left arm behind your lower back. Imagine you could take your left elbow to your right. Once I flip that switch from left and right, I can't get it back. Bringing the left elbow to your right knee. If it's not getting there, bring the right hand below the shoulder, either to the block or to the floor. Wrapping the left arm behind your lower back, turn to look over your left shoulder. If it's comfortable, take the left arm up. If it's not comfortable, keep the left arm wrapped around and behind your lower back. Now from here, we try to shift the weight forward. So look at the floor in front of you. Start to bend the left knee, bring the right hand forward. Start to raise the right leg up. If you need to bring your left arm down, bring the left arm down. Turning your chin to look over the left shoulder. If it's comfortable, raise the left arm up. Holding steady for another breath. And then exhale, start to make your way out. Just come out to standing. Great. The next balances we're going to do, it's a series of 3, Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. And we're all going to use a chair, and we're all going to use a belt, even if you can easily hold your toes. So let me just show you what it looks like first. There's 3 postures, and they're usually done consecutively. Oh, I say usually, not always. I want you to focus on what's happening in the hip of the standing leg. So when I'm standing, I have an alignment between my shoulder, my hip, and my heel. I want to try and keep that alignment no matter what I do with the standing leg. What will happen to some people is they'll push this hip in because they're falling. Try and keep that safe and stable. So when we take the bind, the first 2 fingers go inside the big toe, the thumb wraps around those 2 fingers. We stand tall again, so this hip stays where it should be. And then we stretch the leg out. This doesn't change. When we take the leg out to the side, we try and keep this as stable as we can. And then for part C, the opposite hand goes to the foot, and we turn and look behind us. So how are we going to modify that if you cannot do that? Because that's a lot of hamstring flexibility. First, we're just going to do the knee. So the knee, you'll go like that, and then the knee will go out to the side. And when we go to part C, we just turn opposite hand to knee. So we'll go through that first. So some of you will want to have your chair right there next to your right hip, because we'll stand on the right leg. you don't have to use it, right? You can keep your hand on your hip. But if you're going to use it, have it there so you can easily grab it. Start to transfer your weight to your right leg as you raise the left knee up. If you feel hip pain, please hold your knee and give it some support, either from below or above. When we take the knee out to the side, again, you might hold the knee, you might not hold the knee. If you want to test your balance, turn to look over your right shoulder. And now bring the knee to the front, opposite hand to knee. As you turn to look over your left shoulder, reach the arm out and behind you. Can't hold the chair now. And then exhale, release. So we try to do this quickly also because sometimes people get a cramp in the standing leg. Now shift the chair to the other side. Even if you didn't use it on one side, you might want to use it on the other side. Standing on the left leg, find that stability in the hip as you start to raise the right knee up. If you need to hold the knee, hold the knee. Just because you were okay on one hip doesn't mean you'll be okay on this hip. Sometimes we have an injury on only one side. From here, we'll take the knee out to the side. If you want to test your balance, turn to look over your left shoulder. And then bringing that knee back to the front, opposite hand to knee as you turn to look over the right shoulder, reaching the right arm behind you, stretching that arm out, and then exhale, coming down. Great. So for many of you, that was a good level to work at. Some of you who want to work on flexibility, we're going to do that again, but if you cannot easily reach your toes, then we're going to use a belt. So find your belt's halfway mark and place your index finger in that loop and then close your hand around the belt. So you have a small loop at the top of your belt. You might really want to use your chair for this one. Placing the belt around your foot, bring your foot as close as you can to your inner thigh. So your left knee is quite high. Sorry, the belt should be in your left hand. Yeah. Left hand, index finger is inside the loop of the belt. Okay, put your index finger inside the loop. I can tell some of you don't. I'll show you why in a moment. Okay, now from here, yep, careful, that's why we've got the chairs. I want you to try and keep this hip as it is as you start to stretch this leg out. If you need to give yourself some slack, give yourself some slack. And then see if you can let go of the chair. Now from here, we take the leg out to the side. This is where you might need to use the chair as well. And this is a tricky part. You cannot use the chair if you try the next part. You bring the foot to the front. Opposite hand goes to the belt as you turn to look behind you to the left. If you start to fall, let go of the belt. Sometimes our tendency is to grip the belt. Let the belt go if you fall. And then exhale, release. Okay, little more challenging, right? Placing the chair to the other side. Make your small loop in the right hand with your index finger poking through the loop. And then hook it around your right foot. Bring that foot as high and as close as you can to the inside of your left thigh. That's it. Holding steady there. Try and keep this left hip stable as you start to stretch that right leg out. If you need to give yourself some slack, give yourself a little bit of slack in the belt. Look at yourself in the mirror. Is your right hip higher than your left? We still want to try and keep the hips level. And then from here, taking the leg out to the side. Try and keep this hip straight. And then bring the leg to the front. If you want to give it a go, swap hands and turn to look behind you, stretching the right arm back. Very good. That's all right. It takes practice. It does. I've been doing that pose for 20 years, so I don't fall in it often. But look, I was not a dancer as a kid. I did not do ballet. I did not do gymnastics. I walked into my first yoga class when I was about 21. I don't know if I could touch my toes. So, these things do get easier with practice and over time. It just comes eventually. Now, the next balance that sometimes gets thrown into that sequence, at least in my classes, is Natarajasana. And I don't do the full one. The full one, I can't even demonstrate because it's a shoulder thing for me. You have to be able to reach your foot from here. And it's kind of a crazy one. I can show you with the belt, but I can't show you. So basically you have to be able to take your shoulder around and then you tip forward. Anyway, so I'm going to show you how we modify it. We are just holding the inside of the foot and then we tip forward like that. So that's going to be our version of it. Ready? So you will need a chair in the front, probably the back of the chair to you. If you think you want to go further forward, then you'll want the seat of the chair in front of you. So the difference will be whether you go here or to the back of the chair. With the seat of the chair, you could probably go a little further. So you decide if you want the seat of the chair or the back of the chair to you. Let's start with just the quadricep stretch. So standing on the right leg, take the quadricep stretch, bringing the knee back so you feel the stretch in the front of the hip. If you're already feeling unstable, turn your chair around so you have the back of the chair really close to you. Now to go into this posture, for those of you who are going to tip forward, so right now most of you are holding the outer edge of your foot. Bring your hand to the inner edge of the foot so that your thumb is under your big toe. And then raise, you're standing on the right leg, raise your right arm up. Already you're getting a shoulder stretch in the left shoulder, and some of you will just stay here. Those of you who want to go further, start to pull that foot away. So the foot starts to pull away, and then you start to lean forward. And then inhale, coming out.
Are we supposed to try to keep the pelvis
hips level? Ideally, but it's kind of hard to do anyway. Just balancing is hard enough. So let's change sides, bringing the left foot forward, taking a hold of your right foot. And for some of you, you're already in a balance. You can stay here. If you want to test your balance, you might raise the left arm up. Those of you who are going to go forward, move the hand to the inside of the foot so that your thumb is under the big toe. Start to pull that foot back. Start to tip forward to the chair or not to the chair. Holding steady. And then come out. So it is important that you have poses to aspire to. So there is still a lot of poses that just kill me, and I think, no way, I'll never do that pose. But I keep trying. I keep giving it a go, and yeah, over time I do make a little progress, and eventually they're not so hard. So it's important. I'd like for you guys to try these kind of crazy poses because I think it gives you something to work towards. And so in a few years you'll remember, gosh, I remember when I couldn't do this pose, and now it's so easy. And it gives you a certain feeling of pride and makes you feel chuffed about your yoga practice. Now the next two are kind of nice because we can put our hands down either on the floor or on a block. Or the chair too, you can use a chair. The first one is Urdhva Prasarita Eka Padasana, and I'll just show you what it looks like. It's not as balancy as the others, but I still like to put it in this group because it's kind of like standing on one leg. So basically we walk the hands back to the foot and we take a forward bend and we try to take that back leg a little higher. That's all. But for some of you, just getting the hands to the floor is a challenge. So you might just use your hands on a block. Some of you will take your hands to the chair, which means your posture is not going to go very high, and that's okay. As long as it's within your comfort zone, then you're doing the right thing. Or maybe you rest your head down on the seat of the chair. But let's give it a go. Standing on the right leg. And find that spot on the floor that you're going to focus on, because I want you to think about taking your eyes to that spot. And that's what you focus on. Because if you're looking around at other things, those are the kinds of things that will take you off your balance. So starting to tip forward, figure out where you're going to bring your hands down. Now we try to walk the hands back to the foot. And look, in your fantasy yoga sequence, you would take your nose to your shin. But imagine it, because it might happen one day. And then exhale, start to come out. Changing sides. Standing on the left leg. Find that spot that you're going to focus on. Start to shift your weight forward, bringing the hands down, walking them back to the toes, raising the right leg up. Try not to hold your breath, and then exhale, release. Okay. This last one is not really a yoga pose. It's sort of a preparation for our arm balance. And I think I misspelled the arm balance on your handout. But it's Ekapada Galavasana. And I'll show you. Some of you will want your chair in front, but I'll just show you what we're going to do. We bend the knees, cross the knees, and we bring the hands down to the floor. The ideal situation, you would have your shin in your armpits. Okay? But some of you won't get there. Some of you are going to stay here. And that's fine. You stay there, hands together, you don't move, okay? So for some of you, that's balance. Now the tricky part is when you're here, then you're trying to balance. Those of you who can get the hands to the floor, to the blocks, at least that takes the balance out of the equation. You still get a good hip stretch, but you don't have to worry about balancing anymore because you got your hands on something. So think about whether you're going to bring the hands to the chair, or you're going to bring the hands to the blocks and have them right there in front of you. You can always push them away and go to the floor if you wish. So we will go to the right leg first. So let's start with bent knees, crossing the left ankle over the right knee, the left ankle over the right knee, and try to sit a little deeper. Now, in an ideal world, you would be able to get your hips down to your knees. But we're not some of you won't get there, so if you feel ready, place your hands just there on your knee and your heel, or your chair. Those of you who have the chair ready. Some of you will be able to bring your elbow to your knee and your elbow to your heel. That's when you got to start bringing the hips a little lower. And then those of you who can bring the hands to the floor, you take the hands to the floor and you try to bring your knee to your armpit and your ankle to your armpit. And then inhale, start to make your way out and release. It's a deep hip stretch. Yeah, gets deep in there. Let's go to the other side. Bending the knees, crossing the right ankle over the left knee. Start to sit down. Maybe you place your hands on your chair or your hands on the knee and heel. Maybe you're able to take the elbow to the knee, your elbow to the heel. Those of you who can reach the blocks or the floor, take your hands to the blocks or to the floor. And we try to bring the hips lower. Try to sit more. Try to bend the knee of the standing leg. And then inhale, start to come up. Very good. We only have about 5 minutes remaining, so move the chairs out of the way just so everyone can see a little better. And we'll just sit down and have a few hip stretches. So one of the things that gets worked really hard in balances are your hips, as Miguel has discovered. Why? Because they're working so hard at trying to adjust. You have shifted, so your hips are used to 2 legs. Left, right, left, right, left, right. And then now you're just saying left. And so your hip has to try and compensate for that, to try and keep your spine and everything else upright. So those hip flexors get super tight when we're trying to stand in the balances. So starting with your right leg straight, bring the left foot over, just sitting up nice and tall. Those of you who are able to bend this bottom leg, bend the right knee and bring the right heel to the left hip and try to bring this left foot closer. If this isn't happening for you, if you feel like you're just sitting on one hip, then straighten out the right leg so that you're sitting down on both hips. Because what we're really doing is we're stretching the left hip. So hug that knee in close. Start to turn to look over your left shoulder, supporting yourself from behind. So we're getting a good rotation in the spine, but we really want to focus on squeezing that left knee close to the right armpit, feeling the stretch in the outer left hip. Now exhale, start to release. Those of you who have a straight right leg, bring that left foot a little closer. Try to cross your thighs tighter so that your knees are crossed and you walk your hands forward. Those of you with a bent bottom leg, bring the right foot out a little bit, stacking your ankle on top of your right knee, your left knee over the right ankle, and walk the hands forward. This is Swastikasana. Swastikasana, we have this triangle here between the legs. And we're quickly running out of time, so let's come on back up. Straightening out the left leg, bring the right leg over. If you need to keep the left leg straight, keep the left leg straight. Otherwise, bend the left knee, bring it around to the right hip. Start to pull the belly around, trying to bring the left ribs closer to the right thigh, hugging the right knee close to the left armpit, supporting yourself from behind with a strong right arm as you turn your chin to the right shoulder. Holding steady for another breath. And then when you're ready, start to release. If you have a straight bottom leg, cross your legs a little tighter, stacking the knees, and go forward. Those of you with bent legs, bring the left foot out, away from the hip. Stack your right foot on top of the left knee over the left foot, and start to walk the hands forward. Now we are finished for today. You can take a long Shavasana tonight for hours. If your hips are still sore, do some easy stretching at home, or even take a hot bath if you have the luxury of a warm bath. Thank you very much for coming out this evening. Namaste.